Quite frankly, the NBA is a league where trade season lasts all year long, all the way up until the trade deadline. Things change so rapidly in this league, and new rumors and speculations come about on a nearly daily basis, so it always seems like there's plenty to discuss regarding potential moves. The best teams will be looking to get better, the bad teams will look to accumulate assets and build for the future, and the teams in the middle of the pack look for moves that can take them to that next level. As we do on a pretty regular basis here on this channel, today we'll be reviewing an article posted by national media outlet Bleacher Report, where they proposed some NBA trade packages that would potentially form the next big three in the league. I'll analyze each one based on how realistic it is, who benefits most from it, and why or why not it would actually happen. If you want to read the actual article itself, that will be linked in the description of this video. Before we start though, if you enjoy the content, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as not only does it help out a ton, but I'd also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first proposed trade in the article we'll be discussing today is between the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors, and in it the Celtics give up Marcus Smart, Al Horford, and Romeo Langford in exchange for Pascal Siakam and Goran Dragic. Pascal Siakam is one big-name player who has seemingly been on the trade block for a while, and even though most rumors about this are likely untrue, the basis behind them does make some sense. The Raptors are in a weird spot where they have talent to potentially compete for a playoff spot, but they also have a lot of young guys to develop and could opt to rebuild, and a rebuild would begin by moving Siakam. The Celtics, meanwhile, are in a predicament where they definitely need a big move to be made to get them out of the limbo zone of mediocrity. I know it would hurt some Celtics fans to come to terms with the fact that Marcus Smart is being dealt, as he has been one of the fan favorites and the hearts of the team for years now, but he is probably the most expendable piece with value that they have, and Siakam would be tremendous for them. Siakam is probably one of the most over-slandered star players over the last few seasons because he is a clear upgrade over Al Horford. He brings tons of switchability and versatility on defense, he can play more up-tempo and run with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in transition, and he would be more comfortable in a third option role offensively as opposed to having to be the go-to guy like he is in Toronto. He excelled during the Raptors championship run as a third option, and this is the kind of deal that the Celtics should love if it comes about. The next proposed deal in the article is between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Brooklyn Nets, and in it the Timberwolves receive Kyrie Irving in exchange for D'Angelo Russell. Right off the bat, I have to say that this is pretty absurd, and honestly kind of funny. Imagine if the Nets got rid of Russell a few years ago in order to clear up space to add Kyrie Irving, just to end up doing a literal one-for-one swap of the players a few years later. That would be one of the funniest, most ridiculous things an NBA team has done in recent years, and for obvious reasons, this is one that just won't happen. The idea of this article was supposed to be building big threes for teams, and I'm not even sure Russell is good enough to be considered a star at this point, in a big three at the moment. On the season, Russell is averaging about 19 points and 6 assists per game, but he's shooting a pretty subpar 38% from the field and 32% from three. He has all of the appeal aesthetically in his game, but the production is still pretty spotty and inconsistent at this point in his career. The obvious reasoning behind them proposing this was because of the fact that Kyrie Irving isn't planning on playing anytime soon as long as he's required to get vaccinated, and trading him for someone who will play is better than nothing in theory. However, that theory breaks down in this particular instance when you realize that if news were to break that the Nets were actually considering trading Kyrie, then a one-for-one swap for D'Lo would easily be outbid by other teams. Irving may have his own set of issues that teams may or may not want to deal with, but he's still one hell of a basketball player, and he carries much more value than what this offer suggests he does. The next proposal in the article is actually a 3-team deal between the 76ers, Thunder, and Grizzlies, where the 76ers receive Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Dillon Brooks, the Grizzlies receive Ben Simmons and a 2025 second-round pick, and the Thunder receive Tyrese Maxey, Steven Adams, Zaire Williams, a 2022 first-round pick, a 2024 first-round pick, and a 2026 first-round pick. There's a lot going on here, and of course, there has to be a Ben Simmons proposal included in articles like this, but honestly, this is one of the more intriguing propositions I've come across regarding the topic. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the best young guards in the league right now, and his work as a poised shot creator, playmaker, and even with his perimeter defense would represent just as good of a return as the Sixers could hope to get back in a potential Simmons deal. The Grizzlies also love this kind of trade because they already have an elite playmaking point guard leading the way for them with Ja Morant, and bringing in Simmons would elevate their overall defense while also providing Morant with a secondary playmaker that can handle the ball and run the offense to take some of the pressure off of his shoulders. The Thunder also come out of this deal with 3 first-round picks and Tyrese Maxey, which is insane value for a rebuilding team. And we all know how much general manager Sam Presti loves to stockpile draft picks, so this is right up his alley. The one hesitation I have is that if the Sixers are going to trade Simmons and Tyrese Maxey, who is currently having a pretty big breakout year, they will likely want a legitimate superstar in return instead of someone like SGA, who is still young and developing. So while there are so many things to like about this trade for all 3 teams involved, that's likely where the deal breaks down. And finally, the last proposal from the article we'll be analyzing today is between the Atlanta Hawks and the Detroit Pistons, and in it the Hawks receive Jeremy Grant in exchange for Cam Reddish, Onyeka Okongwu, and Delon Wright. No offense to Jeremy Grant, but if this trade is supposed to be building big threes, I'm not so sure a trio of Trae Young, John Collins, and Jeremy Grant really qualifies. Grant is definitely the best player in this trade, but from my point of view, the Hawks are giving up a lot to go all in on a win-now move that maybe makes them marginally better by adding a player that plays the same position as John Collins. Cam Reddish is finally starting to emerge a little bit this season and is still viewed as a player with a lot of potential, and including Okongwu in an offer like this as basically a throw-in is criminally underrating him. Okongwu, I still believe, has the talent to be one of the best defensive big men in the NBA one day, and the fact that he's currently injured doesn't really change that. The Hawks have proven last year that they're capable of heating up and competing with the best teams in the East as is, so mortgaging a lot of their future for Jeremy Grant feels like a pretty big overpay that probably won't pay off enough to make it worth it. I'm sure the rebuilding Pistons would love to acquire this much young talent though, but the Hawks would be crazy to do this. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about these hypothetical trades. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.